Vice Chair Tacone is absent. Commissioners Gall, Commissioner Morris,
Here.
Commissioner O'Doherty is absent. Commissioner Schroeder,
Here.
Commissioner Altman,
Here.
Commissioner Greth,
Here.
Commissioner Manley, Commissioner Ream,
Here.
Commissioner Sharp.
All right, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of our June 9th. Is that right? June 9th? Board minutes?
No, it should have been October 13th.
Should have been October 13th.
My agenda says October 13th. I don't know.
What I'm looking at says the 9th, so October 13th, 2020. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion. We accept them as presented.
It's moved by Jim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was the second?
Me, Dave Morris.
All right, Dave, seconded by Dave. Call for the question. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by the usual sign. Aye.
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 Those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the minutes from our October meeting are hereby adopted. I did not receive any information on any off-agenda items, so we'll move right on to the next agenda item, which is to welcome our newest member, Gina Sharp. Is she on?
Chair Matthews, I think you.
I see what happened. This package I've got's got the old agenda. Oh,
I just texted you a screenshot of the current one if you want to pull it up.
perfect. I'll do that now. Thank you. Bang. All right. So the next item on the agenda is the introduction of our newest board liaison from the council, Peter Weiss. Is Peter on the line? No?
Yeah, he's here.
Welcome, Peter. We look forward to your participation. I guess retirement is really overrated.
Yes.
All right.
You don't retire, you reposition.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Get repurposed?
You reposition.
All right. Well, welcome, Peter. We look forward to working with you, and I personally look forward to working with you again. Next item on the agenda is the approval of our EDC work plan for 2020, 2021. Michelle, are we just doing that by way of a motion?
Yeah, I incorporated the changes that were discussed at the October meeting, and so hopefully everyone had a chance to look through. I did get one correction from Commissioner Schroeder, just on a name spelling, but everything was incorporated, and hopefully that looks like a good work plan for 2021.
Okay, so I trust that everyone had an opportunity to review the work plan. Are there any comments that we need to address before we move to a vote?
Can I make a comment? I just had a chance to look at it this afternoon. Can we weave in on tourism and hospitality? A lot of stuff is mentioned on the citywide special events and sports, and we do have an Oceanside Sports Commission now that EDC is a part of. So I just want to make sure that it's like, we're already working together, so it's just kind of stating what's already occurring. And then also, we're going to be going into RFP, hopefully next year, on a tourism master plan and just making sure that that's, again, we've been working with economic development as it relates to Visit Oceanside's long-term strategic goals, and that was a part of those strategic goals. So just, again, kind of just stating what we're already doing and making sure those two things are included. That was my thoughts, if everybody's comfortable with that. It's basically things that are already occurring, just making sure we're stating it.
What is it you're saying we want to state or add?
There's a Oceanside Sports Commission that is a division of Visit Oceanside under tourism hospitality, as we work to bring sporting events and those types of things into the community. Just weaving it into maybe the last bullet under D, tourism, hospitality. And then
Gotcha.
also the tourism master plan that is on our long-term strategic. Just working in partnership with Visit Oceanside on the tourism master plan.
I can incorporate those changes if the rest of the commissioners are on board with that.
Michelle, I've never seen this. I'm checking through email back and forth, and I never saw an update to this.
This is part of the agenda packet. It was
Am I
discussed
missing it?
at the October meeting. Changes were made to the 2018-2019 plan.
I see. I'm so sorry.
No, that's
I'll
okay.
shut my mouth.
All right, so is there any objection to what's being proposed? Do we need to go through a formal amendment?
Would you like to approve it with these changes included that Commissioner Gall has provided?
So why don't we just restate the exact changes, and then we can entertain a motion on the modified work plan.
I
I also have a
sorry.
question,
Oh, sorry.
if you don't mind, before you do that.
Go ahead, Matt.
The question is if, and I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that previously there was a little bit more emphasis on an agritourism type project related to the South Morro Hills community plan. And I wanted to ask Michelle if that was something that was just kind of integrated into that, or if that was taken out on purpose, or if there was something more on that that you could
It
illuminate.
has a point on it that says participate in the South Morro Hills community, oh, that's community plans, not that, not agritourism, my mistake.
Yeah, the South Morro Hills community plan includes a very large agritourism component. And since that's a plan that's in progress, we decided to change that so it's more comprehensive. We could change the wording to kind of emphasize agritourism in that bullet, if that is, a better way to present that.
I think it might be worth calling out, given that it's from an economic development standpoint, it's one of the key elements of that community plan.
If the commissioners are more comfortable with bringing a revised plan to the next meeting for approval, that's something that we could also do.
Let's do that. I think that's the more constructive way of doing it, and we can incorporate the suggestions that have been discussed thus far. Are there any other, just by way of a housekeeping matter, are there any other modifications or additions that we need to incorporate so that the next time this comes before us, we can just go ahead and take a vote?
Let's see.
Okay, hearing none. Michelle, will sort of defer to you to encapsulate all of the changes suggested by Matt, and I forget who else was speaking.
Leslie.
So easy to forget.
I don't see you on the screen, Leslie.
I will do that.
And then we'll just take it up at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's move on to the next item, item 6, which is a presentation by Chris Eng and Teresa Collins of the Oceanside Unified School District on their career technical education program.
And I hope you don't mind if I do just a really brief intro on this. And also, I'm going to be advancing the slides, so I'll have to do a little Zoom magic here to make sure that it all works properly. I am on an advisory committee to the Ousd CTE programs, and in kind of being new to this and learning about what they're doing, I felt like it was really important for the commission to hear from Chris and Teresa and to really understand the importance of CTE, and especially right now during COVID, and given that they really feed into all the essential industries in Oceanside. So thank you for allowing them to come and present. And now I will
Hello. So my name is Teresa Collis. I am the Career Technical Education Coordinator for Oceanside Unified School District. Can we advance the slide, please, Michelle? So the team up at the district office consists of myself. We have a CTE counselor that is has an expertise in career technical education, as well as a secretary and account technician that helps us manage the budgets that we do actually have to support these programs across the district. Next slide, please. So as Michelle was referring to, is we do have an advisory board that is comprised of industry partners across the city and in some cases the county. And we try to identify industry experts to connect with the industry courses that we offer within the district to make sure that we stay on top of industry changes, improvements, and just keep our students exposed to the current industry expectations and things like that. Next slide, please. So quickly, what is career technical education? You could read on the slide there, but for many of you, you may be familiar with the old vocational education programs that used to be This is really the new improved version of vocational education. The biggest difference is when we transition to career technical education, most all of the courses that we add that are within a career industry, we make sure that they're incredibly rigorous and they align with college preparatory courses. So they do meet the expectations of what we call A through G, meaning they are recognized by colleges and universities as being a rigorous and prepares kids to transition straight into college courses. So that's a really important component of our CTE programs. Next slide, please. And I mentioned we do have a bit of a budget. I would say that career technical education is one of the highly supported programs within the state of California. We have a Perkins grant that you can see there. We also have the CTIG, which is newer, probably I think since 2016. And that funding from the state is designed to help us continue to grow and expand our career pathways. The work I did when I was the site principal at Oceanside High School was just that. I leveraged that funding to expand our career pathways for the students at the high school. And now my plan is to do that across the district. And so happy to be part of a program that is supported with the funding I need to do the work. Next slide, please. So how do we decide what industries? Well, the state of California has recognized 15 industries that they found to be resilient and plentiful in the state of California. Within these different industries, though, there's multiple pathways and opportunities for students to kind of specialize in some different types of careers. So these 15 really address most all careers and industries we'd find within the state of California. Next slide, please. And now I'm going to pass off to our chair, Chair Chris Ng, who will talk a little bit more about our programs.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you to the commission. Great to be here, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to present. As Teresa said, my name is Chris Ng. I'm the chair of the CTE Advisory Committee. My background is as co-founder, co-owner of an energy management firm where I developed and managed renewable energy and energy efficiency projects for K-12 schools throughout California. So like many businesses and many families throughout our community, our district students have been impacted by the pandemic, and by the nature of its hands-on focus, CTE in particular has been really impacted. And so part of our mission, these days and certainly here today is to, be creative and be flexible in how we approach what we're doing and in ensuring that we're still delivering solid programs for our students. So We are alive and well. We are, like everyone else, reinventing the wheel on a day-to-day basis. But let me jump in with an overview of CTE at both of the high schools here in Oceanside. So at Oceanside High, we've got 10 pathways, and I'll dig just a little deeper on the next slides into those pathways. So 10 at Oceanside High, 5 at El Camino. So total student enrollment across the two schools is just shy of 1,800, which represents a little more than a third of the student population of those two schools being enrolled in CTE. So it is a fairly prevalent program. If I could have next slide, please, Michelle. So I won't take a deep dive on these, but you can see, for instance, so each one of the main points here is a pathway that could consist of 2 or potentially 3 courses. So the Academy of Justice would cover everything from, say, the police or the fire department to paralegal or even to pre-law. So within any one pathway, there's a number of opportunities. There is a number of sub-pathways that students can use to, explore what may be of interest to them, explore potential career opportunities. So those are the 10 pathways and sub-pathways currently being taught at Oceanside High. If I could have the next slide, please, Michelle. And then there's the 5 at El Camino. So there's some slight overlap, but basically we're trying to build these out as separate programs so that both schools are offering a range for the students and that they get to, pick which school most aligns with, with what they're interested in. Next slide, please. So why are we here today? Why are we presenting to the Economic Development Commission? Well, because we have the skilled workforce of tomorrow. And what CT does as one of its primary aims is try to get students hands-on experience with local businesses, with local career paths, with the skills, with the training, and with the exposure needed so that, they understand what it means to be in a given job, and that they get some understanding of what the day-to-day of that job is. So again, in the pandemic, that's become a little more challenging, but we're working on a number of initiatives to try and engage virtually with local businesses, towards that end. And so we're really looking at businesses as a symbiotic relationship. We want to provide access to these businesses for the next skilled workforce, obviously, opportunities for internships, externships. That's basically low or no cost labor. A great outreach to the local community, both through the direct experience of the students, as well as those students sharing their experience with their parents, with their family, of course, on social media. So we believe that for businesses to engage in this, there's, marketing, social media opportunities, as well as the general contribution to the community at large of today and of tomorrow. So if I could have next slide, please, Michelle. And then, so what do the students get out of this? This is perhaps a little more obvious. They get access to potential employers. They get a greater understanding of the skills, of the tasks, perhaps exposure to jobs in the local community they didn't even know existed, and gives them a chance to, sort of get up close and personal with it. Again, there's opportunities for the students, to discuss these opportunities in their circle of friends, and perhaps expose their friends to, to some of the interesting things that they get involved in. So next slide, please. All right, so that's it. We've been allocated 10 minutes. I did want to be sensitive to everyone's time. I'm about 9.5 here, so happy to take any questions. We've got a number of different projects that we're rolling out to engage with local communities. We're engaged with the local chambers of commerce. And so as we flesh out those programs and as they get up and off the ground, we'll certainly be staying in touch with Michelle and her team. But we are here. We are hoping to engage with local businesses. And if there's anything we can do to answer any other questions, either now or offline, I think Teresa and I would both be happy to take questions.
All right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
One thing, Mr. Tacone, I recognize that he's not present today, but all the work that we do, we work directly with the community colleges to make sure that the programs we create align with the guided pathways in our community colleges. So they are a big resource for us. We are currently working on creating a hospitality, tourism, recreation pathway, as well as a building and construction pathway at our Surfside Academy, which is located at our old Ditmar school, just off of Oceanside Boulevard. So that is some new and exciting work we're doing as well. And I believe that those students that are successful in that hospitality pathway will be ones that will be running some of these amazing tourist venues that we have within our building in our community in the very near future.
All right. Thank you very much to both of you, Chris and Teresa, for that wonderful presentation. Any additional questions for either of them before we move on?
One quick one. This is Jim. I noticed you had El Camino had 5 and the Oceanside High School, their campus had 10. Is it just the overlapping or the interest within the school, or the difference in the number of the projects that would be going, or the studies going in each one of the campuses?
I think that would attribute to myself having a passion for career technical education and having been the principal at Oceanside High School. That was my vision for the school for during my tenure. So as the district CTE coordinator now, I'm supporting El Camino in developing and identifying additional pathways that the students and parents in that community would be interested in having as opportunities at that school site as well.
Thanks, Teresa.
I have a question. My question is this: do you have any entrepreneurial program or training for people to start their own companies?
Yeah,
we do. Yeah, actually, at El Camino High School, their art and digital media program, they actually have created their own business, and they take on clients designing web pages, logos, and things like that. So they have an experience of creating together as a team their own business. And then they are learning how to branch out and create their own businesses and then market those businesses. Yep, okay. Absolutely.
What's the age cutoff? Is there an age range to participate?
Currently, we're strong in 9th through 12th grade, but we are need to expand these opportunities for career exploration into our middle schools. So it's
and how
all
do
the way down to middle school.
How do you, maybe you could reiterate or explain further, how do you reach the businesses or organizations that offer the opportunities? And
we go out and knock on doors, make phone calls. A lot of it is just kind of word of mouth and connecting with people who will refer us to somebody and say, hey, I know somebody that is interested. And actually, I've been leaning on some of the big businesses and the city of Oceanside, just with the business of running the city, because it's like a small town and there's so many different jobs within the city that we've actually had students do small interns and visit the different departments within the city of Oceanside.
Thank you.
Real quick. Sorry. On the technical aspect, and I saw engineering and what are like the focuses? Are we looking at automation, or is it just kind of the biotech that we have in Oceanside currently? Like manufacturing?
In the program?
Yeah.
We have an engineering pathway, and that engineering pathway is grounded in what we call Project Lead the Way. And that curriculum keeps it kind of wide open, but creates opportunities to be exposed to the different types of engineering programs. But we try not to narrow it too specific.
Okay. I'd love to hear more afterwards. Please connect.
Okay.
All right, unless there's anything else, thanks once again to both of you for that great presentation. I know it's a fantastic program, and unfortunately, Jim couldn't be here, as I know it's kind of one of his passions to help these kids move along into desired career paths. So thanks to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is an update from Jeff Hunt. I saw his face just pop up on the screen. Jeff, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
This item involves our routine memo to explain projects pertaining to economic development that the Planning Division is currently involved with. This involves both policy projects as well as development projects. The memo's been updated since the prior memo on October 13th, and we usually add items to the bottom of the appropriate categories. So I'll start with the local coastal plan. Number one, staff is waiting on the city's sand replenishment study before we continue on with the coastal plan update. We're also waiting on Coastal Commission input on our draft coastal plan policies. And finally, we're researching revisions to the city's seawall ordinance. The general plan update, item number two, again, this is involves a corridor plan to focus most of our growth in our 4 commercial corridors. The technical reports are still being drafted. We do have a survey that is out right now and active on priorities and values, which will be used as visioning for the general plan update and the sustainable corridors plan. The idea on the corridors plan is if we can accommodate the mandated growth in our corridors, it will free up pressure from our neighborhoods. It will also provide more economic development and support for our businesses, along with reducing greenhouse gases and transportation, vehicle miles traveled, et cetera. There are 3 workshops scheduled. These will be virtual. January 12th is land use and mobility. January 13th is community facilities and conservation. And then on the 19th, we'll address housing. The South Morro Hills plan, which was talked about earlier, this is item number 3. The consultant is revising a draft framework, was the title of that document. The framework will identify some key strategies which will then be used to update and inform inform the South Morro Hills community plan. So we're looking to take the framework to council by the end of the year and tentatively hold a public review meeting with council in early 2021. And then again, that framework, once council endorses it, revises it, et cetera, we'll use that as a basis to draft the community plan. Items number 4 and 5 kind of are joined at the hip. They're both at the Coastal Commission staff right now. The staff has requested a time extension. We have asked that they address these amendments as soon as they can. We think they're very important amendments. The downtown zoning amendments, number 5, again, this involves eliminating the density cap, expanding the transit-oriented area. And this is different from item number 6, which is the downtown commercial uses, which added more commercial uses to the downtown area. Item number 6 has now been submitted to the Coastal Commission for certification, but it is behind items 4 and 5. Going all the way to the next page, item number 11, this involves a zoning amendment that will identify low-cost accommodations that we can use to maintain our mandated 375 unit count. It would involve including short-term rentals and hotels outside the coastal zone. So we're still working on that. We anticipate getting that to the Coastal Commission in the near future, and that will require certification as well. So the next category is more actual development projects themselves. Item number 12, the Inns at Buena Vista Lagoon. As I mentioned at our last meeting, Carlsbad approval is the next step in this process. We'll keep you informed as this one goes through the process, with eventually needing Coastal Commission approval. Item number 14 is the Rio Rockwell General Plan and Zone Amendment. It went from commercial to residential, 104 units. And again, staff is usually somewhat skeptical of changing commercial zoning, but given the site and the lack of viability for commercial use, we supported it. The Planning Commission did approve that on November 18th. Item 17 was quiet for a while. This is a digital theater sign at Mission Marketplace. And that has now started to gain some legs again. They have asked us to start reviewing it once again. It was stalled. So we look to see some activity on that. On the other hand, number 18, the Alta Oceanside mixed use. This is on the main attraction, the adult club site. This is still stalled by the lawsuit filed by the Carpenters Association. We haven't heard of any resolution regarding that. That's a big project. We're really excited about it. Mixed use, over 5,000 square feet of commercial and 309 units, 26 of those affordable on site. Going down to project number 21, this is the arena at El Corazon Park, very large facility, 170,000 square feet, between 5,900 and 7,200 seats. This is still under review. We're still working, the city's still working on a joint parking agreement. Parking in El Corazon Park is very, very strategic, you might say. Item 22 is the Ocean Camp Mixed Use Project. This is on the former drive-in site. We used to call it the Zephyr site. There was some internal squabbling on the development team. They finally worked that out, and they've asked us to start reviewing it again. And this is another large, exciting project, 300-room hotel, 1,000 square feet of retail, 700 residential units, a surfing wave pool. So we're happy to be analyzing that one again now that the internal dispute has been resolved. There's a number of cannabis projects that I listed, and I'll keep them on there. I won't go through any of them today. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Going down to item 33, the Brother Benno's Standing Committee held their final meeting and made their final recommendations to the full Planning Commission. This is regarding revised and new conditions of approval regarding the Brother Benno's facility. There's a lot of discourse on both sides. Some people saying there's nothing wrong with Brother Benno's, and some people saying they ought to be shut down. I'm kind of generalizing, but I think you get the drift. The Planning Commission is anticipated to review those recommendations in January 2021. Going down to the next page, item 34 is a Mariott Residence Inn. We met with a Coastal Commission biologist, and they are requesting additional surveys regarding habitat. So that project is still being stalled. They have agreed to our low-cost accommodation survey that I alluded to earlier in a zoning amendment. So they have agreed to that, but they are still asking for additional information on this habitat. Item 36 is the Mission Flats mixed use at Douglas and SR 76. 137 apartments, 4,000 square feet of commercial. This was approved by the Planning Commission on October 26th. It's also worthy to note that this is within historic district design guidelines, and the Planning Commission and staff were very pleased that they did adhere to those guidelines fairly well. 38 is the CarMax pre-owned auto dealership, and this is again started to generate review again that was on hold for a while, but we are starting to move on that once more. Item 40 is redevelopment of the Transit Center. City staff did meet with a selected developer to discuss the projects, and we also have suggested that they should pursue a specific plan because of the patchwork of different zoning. They have downtown zoning, they have coastal zoning. It would be difficult to develop it with the hodgepodge of zoning regulations. Item 41 is a mixed-use, transit-oriented project at Crouch and Oceanside Boulevard. While this is still under review, we really haven't had any movement or action on that in quite some time. We keep reaching out to them and trying to encourage them. I'm not sure what the holdup is. We're hopeful that they will continue moving on that project. Item 47 is a small project, but it seems to garner a lot of interest at Starbucks at 801 North Coast Highway. This is at Neptune and Coast Highway. This is under review. And then item 49, another little project, but it's indicative. This is at the Regal Cinema. They've applied for a change to a full alcohol license. They currently have a beer and wine license only, and the applicant indicated this is part of the new business plan for theaters, not just from COVID, but prior to COVID and exacerbated by COVID. And then finally, item 50 is a large building, online retail distribution center. We believe it'd be for Prime. It would be 142,000 square feet and then a large fleet parking lot. It is under review. Shouldn't be a problem. It's zoned for industrial. Then there are the next category is development projects that staff has the approval authority for. Item 53 is the Sobering Services Center on Apple Street. That is scheduled for approval on December 8th. There has been some interest in an appeal expressed by some of the people who have concerns or even opposition to that project. That's a city-sponsored project to try and get people off the street and help them out and transition onto a healthier lifestyle. And then finally, I'll just drop down to the potential development projects at the bottom of the page. These, no application has been submitted. These are development conferences that have been held or are going to be held. Sometimes they come to fruition. More often than not, they don't. But nonetheless, item 58 is a very large project. It's 716 Seagates, 8 stories high, 716 studio apartments, 1,800 square feet of commercial. And then item 59 is a single room occupancy hotel at 3240 Mission Avenue, which would convert Marty's, and that should be Marty's Valley Inn, not Village Inn. Sorry about the typo there. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, any questions for Jeff?
Inspiring how many projects continue to move forward during this period.
It is inspiring. At the same time, it's worrisome that some of them aren't moving. I mean, if you track this memo, some of these have been on there for months and months and months. So yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Hey, Jeff, maybe I might have overlooked it, or it might have already been completed, or at least not on this list. The Coastal Academy High School?
It is on there, yeah.
Okay.
Let me see where it's at.
Just seeing if there's any
It's number 37.
progress. Okay. What's the update on that one?
So they are still under review. We looked at them for some habitat issues, and then we looked at them for converting industrial land. Though it turns out that we don't need to convert it to industrial, we just need a zoning within the industrial category. There was some concerns with the adjacent industrial uses, that somebody would complain about those uses and impacts onto the students and the teachers, but we got a health report on that. So now there's issues on who's going to maintain the habitat. They don't want to maintain the habitat. They want the city to. The city does not, as a general rule, agree to maintain habitat for developers. So we're still working on that one.
Got it. Thanks for the update.
You're muted, Jim. Jim, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. On the Mission Flats, I'm just curious since it's located right at Douglas and the 76, how do you get in and out of that? Because the traffic is so hard. There's no left turn lane if you were going south. Coming off, I'm just curious, are they going to be ingressing and egressing through the shopping center that's there now, or?
It is a good question. Traffic was very involved with that project. I believe they have a right in and right out only. So I'm not sure if they have a left turn going south, but I can check on that. But it definitely it's a right in and right out.
That's part of the left turn lane already going on to the 76. If you were going south on that, I was just trying to figure out how people are going to ingress and egress out of that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That's a tough site in general. There was a lot of constraints on that.
It is. That's why it's been vacant for so long.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else, Mr. Chairman?
Any other questions for Jeff or comments?
Couple quick questions, Jeff. Number 50, the online distribution center. So that, have they mentioned how many jobs that might bring?
They have not, but Michelle, you can chime in if I've got this wrong, but Michelle did some research on some similar facilities in other cities, and the jobs were actually quite high. I believe it was several hundred. So we were concerned with that too, and we keep asking them, and they're kind of playing their cards close to their chest, so to speak.
Yeah, because that could be pretty active location.
Actually, 47, Jeff, that Starbucks is the big heat because of how close it is to other cafes. that are local businesses?
Not from our perspective. We've heard that on other Starbucks and national chains that they drive out the local businesses. The big issue for planning is the ingress and egress. Starbucks, as we all know, can get a lot of queuing and stacking.
Oh, yeah.
It's a small site, and the last thing we want is queuing back out into Coast Highway. So traffic
especially right there.
Yeah. There, on that one, the downtown does not allow drive-throughs except north of Neptune, where we felt that you're getting away from the traditional grid pattern of downtown, which isn't as nearly pedestrian-oriented as a grid pattern. So a drive-through is allowed on Neptune going north.
Okay.
My other question was on number 5, and that's kind of related, perhaps, in terms of zoning. Are the zoning changes? We might have even seen that maybe a while back. Is that something that's publicly available online? Those potential changes?
Yes, if you go to the Planning Division website and then under long-range policy projects, there should be a downtown zoning amendment. And again, there's been 2. You can see number 5 and number 6. Number 5 was for the density cap, and number 6 is for adding additional uses. So you have to keep those 2 distinguished.
Thank you.
Anything else for Jeff? All right, Jeff, thank you so much. Have a great holiday.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the commissioner updates. I'm going to just start clockwise on my screen. Jim, any update?
Nope, just happy holidays and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody. Stay safe out there, healthy.
Matt?
I don't have any big updates other than, our business sells a lot to retailers. And I'll just mention that, we're shipping a lot of our poinsettias this time of year. And we're watching very closely as to what happens with the retailers in the town and the community in terms of the way they react to these new restrictions in California. And it's just really interesting to see how some retailers are having to shut down and others aren't. And, obviously it's so important for us to stay safe, and I'm glad we're doing a lot of this remotely here, but a lot of people are still shopping and a lot of activity still happening. And just remind your family, friends, and neighbors to be safe. That's all.
Mr. Morris?
Not a lot to add, except I've been traveling around the country this last week for work and pleasure. On
an alternative note.
Pardon?
Is it on an alternative note?
Yeah. And I've been, of course, I'm here at home right now because our company policies, I have to wait 3 days and then get tested what do they call those things? A rapid test, and then can go back into work. But it is really interesting to see how some states who have as bad or higher numbers than we have are completely open. Not completely, they're maybe at 50% indoor dining. Again, on the Northeast, it's cold there, so you can't really have any outdoor dining there. So it's really interesting how that is, and it's interesting how the different states are handling everything. But on a banking side, and I don't know where this is all coming from, deferments are down to less than 1% of loans right now. The only deferments we really have right now are mortgage, residential mortgage. Almost all the commercial deferments have gone, they're back paying. I don't know how they're doing it, but they are. And, lending is great right now. There is a lot of lending going on. I mean, it's commercial and residential. All the residential 3.5, because the rates are so low. But it's just been a boom, really. in that part of the world. And the deposits are way up because nobody's spending money yet. I mean, they are spending money, but they're not spending money going to Europe and places like that, or paying American Airlines or Delta. So, okay, that's it.
All right, Mr. Ream.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Let's see, not much to update on my end. I work mostly in automation manufacturing. What I am seeing that's promising is that, at least in my industry, most people are keeping their jobs. The people they tend to be staggering, and a lot of facilities are investing, in automation and in different things to upgrade facilities and work on projects that were probably on the back burner. So, in my industry, things are moving along really well. So, I hope this, to see recovery in places where, food industry and small businesses that are struggling. But on the manufacturing side, things seem to be just chugging right along.
All right, Mr. Greth.
Yes, I was talking to Lauren Hill from the Y off of college, and as small businesses are struggling through this time, they're trying to reinvent and reshape how they do business, and I'm just trying to figure out how this committee can help these small businesses in these efforts. And one thing she was talking about is the fire alarm certification was something to the tune of $100,000 for them to actually do that to take care of, like, after hour care and things of this type of nature. So just something, just a look out, what can we do to help these businesses that are struggling, and just something to ponder on. From my industry, biotech, everything is going pretty good. We're supporting Regeneron, obviously, which is one of the vaccines that are going to be coming out next year. So within that, we're getting a lot of tech transfers to our facility here in Oceanside, which is good for us. We had a different downstream that we reopened because of the work coming into us. So at least from that perspective, there's longevity in what we're doing. So, but that's a quick update from myself. I just want to wish everybody a good Christmas and stay safe.
All right, I know Leslie's somewhere here. Where are you, Leslie?
Yes, I'm here. Well, you guys know I'm a pretty optimistic person, have a lot of passion. It's strategic driven, but this is a really tough time for my industry. Hospitality and tourism has been decimated. We just took a huge step back. I was hoping to announce a media demo that we were going to do on Thursday to encourage the governor to create guidelines to move forward with events. We're the only state that doesn't have any guidelines, and these events take 6 to 9 months to plan, and we had to cancel that, and again, just taking this huge step back. Our industry's probably been hurt the worst, yet our legislators and governor haven't really created any specific relief for our industry, which has been really interesting. We know in March, we did a survey to our lodging partners, and 90% of our employees at our lodging properties are local residents. So the impact is tremendous for our community and far-reaching. So I wish I could be more optimistic, but our industry is hurting right now. On a more positive note, we did partner with the new Oceanside Beach Resorts just in time. We were able to do a Oceanside immersion for their public relations team and their marketing team. I'm really excited about the team they have put in place. They really understand the role and impact they have in the community, and how important how important the different experiences that we have in Oceanside play a role in their property. They're really thoughtful about weaving in those local experiences, highlighting the different pillars such as the arts and culture, which is key, the action sport industry, the agritourism and culinary is really important to them. And we are a very storied destination in all these different aspects. So they're very conscientious about weaving these stories and experiences into the property as they move forward. So that was really encouraging. And hopefully you all can feel really proud about what they're developing at the property and how they're leveraging those local businesses and experiences. Any questions for me?
Any questions for Leslie? All right. Is anyone else there with you, Leslie, on the commission?
Yes. Do you have it?
Commissioner Sharp is here as well.
Okay, great. Commissioner Sharp?
Stand by. A little technical difficulty here.
Real good. Okay, sorry about that. My microphone wouldn't turn on. I don't think it's any surprise. Real estate has been insane this last few months. Residentially, we'll see what happens with commercial. You know, everyone knows what's going on with restaurants and all that kind of stuff, but all good. And then David pointed out the loan things going on. Rates are really low for homeowners, so that's just been a very busy time. So that's about it from me.
All right, thank you. I think if we've got everyone, is there anyone that I missed? All right, I don't have much of an update other than to share with you my great disappointment and depression over the fact that Jim can't travel and I can't follow him and see all the fantastic places he's going all around the world. So my life is less bright, Jim, that you're not traveling. So I just wanted you to know that.
For the fourth time this year.
So I want to personally wish all of you, well, I think we have one other agenda item, updates. Michelle, you want to go over the updates? I know one of them is going over the membership list and the schedule for next year.
Yes, thank you. So not to, keep this in a depressing mode, but just to, as an update, everyone knows this, regional stay-at-home order began yesterday. So at this point, there are no gatherings of any size. Restaurants can only be open for takeout and delivery. Indoor operations are limited capacity, and several sectors are required to close. We still have a loan program. The county re-upped funds into their grant program. So we're just trying to get the word out to our businesses of what resources are out there to help them financially. City did also close some public counters with the exception of police, city clerk, cashiers, city manager, city council, and city attorney. And then city playgrounds and harbor camping are closed. And then we closed the fountain patio dining area that we had opened. We have a lot of online services in Jeff's department and other departments. So we just pivoted and we're hoping that the numbers look good after this 3-week period and we can open back up. The city has partnered with Main Street Oceanside and the Oceanside Chamber on a shop local effort that is multifaceted. So Main Street has a digital coupon book. You can get it on their website with discounts at local businesses. The Merry Makers Fair that was scheduled for this coming Saturday is happening. They worked closely with the county to revise the guidelines for basically they're just going to follow retail guidelines and limit capacity at 20%. And then the Oceanside Chamber has a campaign called Keep the Cheer Here, and they are giving away gift cards to local businesses as social media contest prizes. So, I can't remember which commissioner said, but there is some positivity out there in terms of business starts. We kind of, it's more of an art than a science to keep track of businesses that have permanently closed due to COVID. But Patty's been doing a great job of kind of everything from anecdotally, driving by and checking them out to sort of monitoring the business licensing database. We've probably had 30 businesses closed due to COVID in the last several months. On the other hand, we've had at least 24 open and another 20 or so on the horizon that are slated to open. And these include Krispy Kreme. In fact, for example, one business, Saint-Tropez, a popular restaurant, it closed, but a new restaurant opened in its place, Les Citrons. We had the new Scripps 85,000 square foot medical center on Jefferson open, which is a huge boon in terms of jobs for Oceanside. Parlor Donuts is open downtown, which I think half of City Hall goes there every day. And then Angry Chicks, which is a fried chicken place on Mission, which also all of City Hall is very big fans of, just opened. So there is some, positivity on the horizon. Then, and of course, the much anticipated beach resorts opening next spring. And we're just trying to kind of stay positive with just it's rough out there for businesses. And I just want to personally thank everyone, all the commissioners, for your service. 2020 has been a year, huh? And happy holidays. And we're just looking forward to seeing you all in a prosperous 2021. So thank you.
Hear to that. So unless we have any additional business, we're going to adjourn to our next scheduled meeting for February 9, 2021. Wow, it's hard. It's still difficult saying that, actually, because when I was a kid, 2021 was supposed to involve flying cars and teleportation.
It's happening. Just call me. I'll tell you.
Thanks for staying on top of that. So with that, I once again want to wish everyone happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Please be safe. So best of all to you and your families, and we'll see you in February.
Thanks, everyone.
Sounds good. Take care.
Happy holidays.
Take care. Goodbye, all.